All right. You know what time it is? Fan to Van podcast time.
All
Right, so
lots to talk about.
All right, so obviously AFC, NFC championship games have come and gone. Kansas City beat Buffalo. Let's call it what it is. Even though I want Buffalo to win it all, they played flat.
They basically did.
They played flat.
The Chiefs defensive line got to Josh Allen.
That's what you got to do. And Green Bay, let's call it what it is, because that's really the turmoil here. So I'm going to educate the Green Bay Packers fans real quick. All right? The officiating didn't cost you. This is what cost you.
Bad coaching.
Bad coaching. Turnovers. And not executing on the turnovers you created.
Yep.
Okay? Brady handed you 3 gifts with 3 horrible passes. And you did squat with it. Nothing.
But
you did not a thing. You did not a thing. You had 3 turnovers. You got 6 points out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa created 3 turnovers and had 16 points off.
Yep.
Of it. So you have to execute. It's the same thing in basketball. You get a steal, you convert it to points.
Mm-hmm.
In football, you get an interception or a sacked fumble, whatever it is, you convert it to points.
Whether
not
it's
just
3 or
not
6,
just
it doesn't matter.
You always want the 6, not just the 3. Especially in the NFC or AFC championship
Yeah.
game, you can't just settle for 3. You always have to go for 6. Okay, if it's like week 2, all right, whatever. It is what it is. But also too, and this is where the officiating gets ripped again. If you are letting them play
the entire game,
you don't call that same call throughout the first quarter, second quarter, third, and fourth until the 4th, and you call it with 2 minutes left. I gotta question the integrity of the officiating.
Yeah, that's not right.
And it goes to a lot of people think that maybe Vegas does control the odds.
Maybe they do. I never really thought about that.
I mean, if you want to be a conspiracy theorist and think it, you're entitled to it. But the more and more you see it, maybe it starts to kind of ring true. But for me, I'm not really buying it. I really don't think that there's somebody up in a booth saying, "Okay, let him play," and then like have it scripted like WWE, where okay, we're gonna do this in this segment, and then we're gonna do this, and then the go home part of it's gonna be all right. Let's just fuck Green Bay over. No, that's not what happened here. Pretty much what happened is from kickoff to 3rd and goal, where Aaron Rodgers again, you got to run it there. You have to run the ball there. You had a wide open lane. Even if you got stopped at 4th and goal, you're a lot closer to 6 than you were getting 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the blame on that goes on Aaron Rodgers. The blame on that goes on Matt LaFleur. The blame on it goes around the whole team.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers came out in this press conference, and his demeanor to me said that he wanted to leave, like that he was done, and that he wanted to be traded, released, whatever it was. But now he's come out and said that
the heat of the moment, probably.
But he came out. He said, "Listen, I want a new deal, pretty much." He's like, "And I want to stay in Green Bay."
Mm-hmm.
Whether that happens or not, if I'm Green Bay...
Well, I heard Matt LaFleur come out and say that Aaron Rodgers ain't going nowhere, so...
If I'm Green Bay, you got to keep him. Because Jordan Love is nowhere near ready to take this team over. Nope. Aaron Rodgers literally has to play the next 2 years for Jordan Love to get prepared to take over.
Basically, with Brett Favre and...
But you know what I see is in the next year or 2 is them having the same issue as Favre and Aaron Rodgers, where Jordan Love's going to want to take over... And they're going to try to push Rodgers out any which way they can.
Yep.
And if you do that, then it still rings true. History is doomed to repeat itself.
Yep, exactly.
Now, and even going back to the officiating, there was a lot of missed pass interference calls. And I get you. And listen, every officiating crew is different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're all different. Some will let them play. Some are going to call every little penalty they possibly can. They just want to get flag happy. Okay? And me watching a game, if you're going to let them play, you let them play throughout the whole game, all 60 minutes.
You don't throw a flag when somebody hops up and starts whining and you decide to throw a flag. Come on, man.
Bottom line is this. If you're the official, grow a pair and say, we're letting you guys play. So this is what it is. Because in the 70s, you didn't see them whining for flags. And the 70s was a much tougher era to play football. Even the early 80s to late 80s, early 90s, before it changed to this pussified league, let's just call it what it is, where if you breathe on a quarterback, it's a personal foul. If if 2 people get their feet tangled
it's pass interference.
It's pass interference. Or if you go over and tug the guy's towel off his freaking jersey, that's a personal foul.
It's a towel, but okay.
I mean, come on. The officiating's got to learn how to officiate correctly. And again, if you're letting them play, let them play out.
But those blatant holding calls, chokeholds, that type of stuff, that's got to be called though. Like, that's got to be called.
The clear and obvious, the ones where it could go either way, and you hear announcers say this all the time. And Tony Romo has been any game you watch Tony Romo call, he's always said, he goes, I wouldn't have called it there. I would have let it just go as it's a bang bang play. How do you call the penalty there? But they do it.
I know.
And if you're a Green Bay fan that wants to use that one call as the ultimate excuse for Green Bay not being in the Super Bowl, you handed Tom Brady his 10th Super Bowl appearance. Let's call it what it is. You, the Green Bay players, Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur, and everybody else, you literally said, here, Tom, here you go. 10th Super Bowl, here you go. And handed it to him.
Here's a chance to win your 7th.
That's what you did. That's what you did. And Green Bay only has themselves to blame. Mm-hmm. You can't blame the officials. And don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers was pissed on the sidelines. He was pissed. You saw him going at it with the one official.
Yeah, you've seen it.
And I'll give him credit for that because Aaron Rodgers is he's a stand-up guy. I'll give him that. But also, too, on the other side of the coin, they weren't calling it for either side.
Yeah.
I get that that's the turning point of the game, but it shouldn't have come down to that. Because if Green Bay did what Tampa did, you have a different outcome. You have a different outcome in this game. That call doesn't determine the outcome of the game. Because when Green Bay got the first interception, you should have turned it to 6. When they got the second one, you should have turned to another 6. And when you got the third one, you should have converted it to another 6. You didn't do that. You, Aaron Rodgers, who's supposed to be the anointed greatest of all time, let's just call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. Because I can't anymore, and this is where, and you Steeler haters can hate me all you want, but this is where I'm about to defend Ben, and it's all going to make sense. Ready? Breeze. Wilson. Rodgers.
I'd put Rodgers above Wilson.
No, I'm just not giving them any order.
Oh, okay.
1, 1, 1. Super Bowl.
Gotcha.
1, 1, 1. NFC championships. Wipe the board. Ben, 2 Super Bowls, 3 to 4 AFC championship victories, and a shit ton of accolades to go with it.
Yeah.
I don't care that Breeze
never had to lose a season.
I don't care that Breeze has thrown for 80,000 something yards. I don't care that Russell Wilson is banging Sierra and all her goodies and is this mobile quarterback and does all these things in Seattle. Bottom line is this: Breeze, Rodgers, Wilson, overhyped.
Yep.
Let's call it what it is. Overhyped. And I know my buddy Sal will definitely agree. He'll actually call them beta bitches. Okay? Ben, I'm sorry. Not overhyped. Not overhyped. You could put those 3 in the same category as Baker Mayfield. And even though Baker Mayfield, I won't say these 3 overhyped themselves the way Baker overhypes himself and the way that the Cleveland Browns fans do, because I'm sorry, I don't see it. I don't see how you're going to anoint this kid as the greatest Cleveland quarterback ever. What, because you had one winning season with him? Big whoopity friggin' do. Call me when you win a Super Bowl and actually have a parade for that, not 0-16. Okay? Call me when that happens. Okay? Because it ain't going to happen with Baker Mayfield. I said it the other night. The only way Cleveland wins a Super Bowl is if you have a level-headed organization. Not this overhyped bullshit that you have there where everybody thinks they're the world's greatest thing and they're over cocky and overconfident and they friggin' flap their gums. Let's call this, oh, wow, you beat Pittsburgh like one time at Heinz Field in the AFC playoffs. Big whoopity friggin' do. Okay, because guess what? Because Pittsburgh didn't show up. Okay, Pittsburgh didn't show up.
I'll keep it real. Pittsburgh played like shit.
Okay? Pittsburgh didn't show up in that game. Okay? And then you got Kareem Hunt. And they're mocking Juju with the friggin' Corvette song and blah, blah, blah. And Kareem Hunt saying Kansas City are next. What happened?
Kansas City.
I'm not going to say that Kansas City clapped the shit out of them because Mahomes goes down with you could call it a dirty hit by Mac Wilson on Mahomes. but you got beat by Chad Henne. And by the way, Matt LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers has been in this league for as many years as Chad Henne's been in the league, and Andy Reid showed more courage by letting Chad Henne throw on 4th and 1 than you had in your quarterback running it on 3rd and goal.
And he had a clear lane.
Okay, a clear lane. And again, even if Devin White or Shaq Barrett got to him at the 2 or the 3, you're still closer to getting 6 than you would have with 3 there. Okay? And guess what? If that was Chad Henne in that situation, he's running the ball. He's running the ball. That's all it is. Andy Reid's telling them, run, bitch, run.
That's right.
All right? I'm sitting there screaming at the TV, run, Aaron, run, like I'm Jenny and Forrest Gump.
I don't know why you do this about Adam, bro. I don't know why.
I can't. I can't for the life of me. And then even before that, there was the one misread, and Davante Adams was supposed to run one route in the end zone, and he wound up going a different way because Tampa sniffed it out, and Rodgers threw it to God knows who.
Yeah.
And all those reasons are the reasons why Green Bay lost. And those reasons I just displayed about those 3 and Ben, which is what makes Ben better than the 3 of them. I don't care about 80,000 passing yards. I don't care about 9,000 touchdown passes. I don't care about that. Because for the majority of Ben's career, they've always been a running team. And the Roonies came out and said they're going back to that. That they're going to be an equally passing, equally run offense, which is the way they should have always been.
Yep.
Okay? Don't get me wrong. Ben still got a cannon. Let's call it 39, he's still got an arm. Well, he's going to be 39 in like 2 months. Okay? He's still got an arm. He can still throw the ball. Look at Brady. He's 43 years old. He's still throwing 60-yard bombs down the field. I literally thought he would have thrown his arm off by now.
That one Scotty Miller was a dime pass, dude.
Which, by the way, Scotty Miller, no way in hell are you beating Tyreek Hill in a 40-yard dash.
What?
Yeah.
No. Dude,
they don't call Tyreek Hill the cheater for nothing.
I know.
Just like they don't call Tom Brady the cheater for nothing either.
Okay, we're gonna leave that one alone now. But I'm gonna give Tom Brady his due though. Like at his age, what he did in Tampa is great.
And then that's the other part. All these guys, Rodgers, Brees, and Wilson, have been in the NFC their whole career. Brady walks in and dominates.
He dominates it.
At 43, dominates Rodgers, Brees, and Wilson.
In their houses.
And
in their houses.
Wins in his first year in the NFC. He's going to the Super Bowl in the NFC. Already has an NFC championship. These 3 jackasses have been there for years and have done nothing. So why is it that everybody shits on Ben for the same bullshit these 3 are doing? Not winning the damn thing. You can have a 13-3 season all you want, but again, if you don't get to the Super Bowl and win the Lombardi Trophy, those games you won mean nothing to me.
Absolutely nothing.
If we had won 16-0 and lost to Cleveland
I'd rather have been 10-5.
I'd rather have been 2-14. If that was going to happen, I'd rather not even be in the playoffs. But to say that Rodgers and Brees and Wilson are 100 times better and more elite than Ben Roethlisberger, you have to be that much of a hater or that much of a moron to think that. I'm sorry, you do. You just do. It's just so sickening, and you can tell it just makes me so aggravated. Because for years I've had to hear, Rodgers this, and Brees this, and Wilson that. Well, you know what? It's funny. What did Wilson do against the Rams? You lost to 2 quarterbacks. You lost to a quarterback with 9 fingers, and you lost to a quarterback who hasn't played in the league since the friggin' XFL went bankrupt. Okay? And then speaking of that, this was the interesting thing before we started that I saw, that there's going to be an open competition with the Rams for the starting quarterback position between Goff and John Wolford.
John Wolford?
Are you kidding me?
Why? Because Sean McVay and Goff are on the same terms right now?
Apparently, who knows? Who knows? Maybe McVay's period isn't lining up with Goff's period. Because now women's menstrual cycles, some of them link up and they become like the alpha female or something like that. I guess that's what's going on in LA. I don't know.
I'm just saying, Goff had a broken finger, surgery, and still, there was some passes we threw a can where I was like, I don't know how he's throwing that ball right now. But
I don't know either. But to say that Ben isn't on this level, the way they put Rodgers and Breeze and Wilson, you're a fool. You're a fool. Because he's better than them. Let's call it what it is. He's better than them. You say, oh, well, you know, he had Antonio and Le'Veon and they didn't win nothing. Okay, but again, what happened when you found out the reasons why? That Antonio was being a prima donna and that Bell wanted to rap, catch passes, and run.
You want to get paid like a receiver and a running back.
Yeah, well, guess what? You got drafted as a running back. Okay? You got drafted as a running back. I get that you're good catching the ball out of the backfield, but you're not getting paid as both.
So was Alvin Kamara. You know, see him be like, I want to get paid.
Well, he got his money.
Oh yeah, he got
his extension. So did Dalvin Cook. So did a lot of them. And you know,
and be honest with you, after Goff got his deal, he was not the same. Not the same.
Well, look at Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins fun.
Kirk Cousins. To talk about taking $84 million
and he's throwing the garbage.
Taking it and putting it in a garbage bag and just chucking it in the dumpster because that's what Minnesota did. Because you really think you're winning with Kirk Cousins? Washington couldn't win with him? You think Minnesota was going to?
Nope. They couldn't do it with Diggs stealing.
And that's the thing that annoys me when they put Breeze on this pedestal. You choked against Minnesota
twice.
Not once, but twice. You choked against the Rams in the not pass interference called game, and then your fan base said that you wanted to replay the game. And again, I'll reiterate this. There was a replay in the game. It's called overtime, and you choked there too.
Yeah.
Okay? And Rodgers, again, how are these people that shit on Ben's career going to say that Rodgers is better when Rodgers going into that NFC Championship game trailing at halftime, his record is 1-7, now 1-8. Okay? That's better than Ben Roethlisberger? Sorry. Nah, kid. Ain't. But hey, keep hating. Do you, fam. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to say, I'll give Eli Manning his due, too. He beat Tom Brady twice. He even beat Aaron Rodgers in his own stadium. 2011. And blew him away, by the way.
And it just annoys me because these Steeler haters, you're going to have to come around and realize that, you know, people could say that the Cowboys are America's team. No. No.
Why? Can I star on helmet?
No. That star is their rating. Okay? Because Dallas has sucked for how many years now? And they're going to continue to suck.
A lot of years.
Okay? And Jerry Jones came out a few weeks ago, and if this is true, he said that Dak's got the advantage now in the contract talks. Because look at what they did without him. They did nothing.
Absolutely.
Look at how hyped CeeDee Lamb was coming out in the draft. What did he do? Nothing.
Damn thing. Not
out of Ruggs, out of CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Ruggs, Justin Jefferson,
Denzel Mims, Justin Jefferson,
Mims and Chase Claypool.
Claypool and Jefferson.
It's Jefferson and Claypool.
Yep.
1 and 2 right there. Because CeeDee Lamb sucked. Jerry Jeudy sucked. And Ruggs was hurt here and there, and guess what? Sucked.
Yep.
Let's call it. And Denzel Mims barely played because he had family drama issues and was injured coming into the season. So,
hey,
just saying, Pittsburgh knows how to draft. I'm just saying.
Giants don't. Just saying.
Yeah, well, and again, speaking of the draft, and we're gonna do that whole special after the Super Bowl and after everything comes into play, you know, and we do all the research and look at all the mock drafts. I'm gonna get a board. We'll do our own little mock draft.
Yep.
You know, maybe we'll go somewhere and do it if it's nice out. Who the fuck knows? You know,
I'll do it anyway. I love this type of shit.
Who really knows? But you know, we could talk about the Super Bowl and football more later in the week, going into next week and even the week of the Super Bowl. We got to jump into baseball here. And as much of a diehard Yankee fan as I am, and I've always questioned certain trades they made, this trade, I like it, but I don't like where he was traded to, and that's Adam Ottavino.
To the Boston Red Sox.
All right. For the life of me, Cashman, I love some of the moves you made, love some of the signings. Over the course of my 30-plus years of watching his team, and even before he was the GM, you don't trade within your own division, regardless the sport. Regardless. That's like the Rangers trading, let's say, Chris Kreider to the Islanders for, like, Matt Martin and freaking they're freaking goalie Varlamov. It's not going to happen. No, that makes no sense. You don't trade within your own division because now you got to face Adam Ottavino, who you know what? Let's just call it this. He's got one of the nastiest sliders without using a wiffle ball. Because the only wiffle ball could you throw the nastiest slider, and this guy has perfected it with a baseball.
And now we got to face him 25 times.
And now we got to face him like 955 times over the course of 3 years, whatever his contract is. Okay, but the only plus side to it is that it frees up salary cap money. Because Boston is taking the money. They're taking his contract.
Yeah, so we
literally got nothing in return.
But gave up.
Well, you can't say we didn't get anything in return because we pretty much got 30-something million. Which now frees up money to do a deal with Gardner. I'm not saying he's going to take $30 million and give it all to Brett Gardner.
No.
Brett Gardner's what, 38, 39 years old?
Yeah,
but you know what, though? He still can play the game. And Brett Gardner
he's a locker room dude.
He's that guy you need on the team this year.
Yep.
Because this is going to be his last year. Let's call it. If you're a Yankee fan that thinks Brett Gardner's playing after this year, you're not. So this is the year to win the World Series for Brett Gardner. Okay, so you signed Brett Gardner to a 1 year, $5 million, and I even had somebody say, "Well, why didn't you just give him a 1 year, $10 million?" Well, if they did that, they would have took the club option for the $10 million.
Exactly.
So they declined it to save money to use in free agency, which they've had. And, getting Corey Kluber and trading for Jameson Taillon, which if you hate the move, I'm sorry, I disagree with certain Yankee fans.
Until you see what he does.
Coming off of 2 Tommy John surgeries back to back, but you don't know what this kid is till he steps foot on the mound. And if you're going to be one of those Yankee fans that says, I don't care that Garrett Cole gave it the seal of approval, he pitched with Garrett Cole in Pittsburgh. So why wouldn't you go to the guy who, A, played with the team you're being a trade partner with, who watched him play? It only makes sense to ask the guy. Are you going to ask about a guy who pitches for the Pirates? Are you going to call the Giants? You going to call San Francisco Giants and ask them, hey, how does this kid pitch? Why you call me? You don't pitch for us. That's what it sounds like.
Hey, as long as Garrett Cole gave him the okay.
Garrett Cole said the kid's got something special. So until he steps foot in the mound, in the Bronx, in pinstripes, you cannot kill it. You cannot kill the trade. Thing. And all you did was give up mid-level prospects. Yeah, you gave up 4 of them. What the return is going to be, is going to be greater than what those 4 might have become.
Might have or could not have.
I could understand if they gave up like, let's say, the number 3 ranked prospect of all of baseball for this kid. Then I did. What are you doing?
But they
didn't do it. They gave up mid-level. They gave up mid-level prospects to get this Jameson Taillon kid.
Mm-hmm.
I watched him pitch because I've watched Pirate games when there's nothing else on. I watch a Pirate game and he's pretty decent. So, again, I don't knock the deal, but I can tell you that deal did close the door on the Tanaka coming back to the Yankees, but then he's working out a deal, and I think they're close to a deal where he's going back to Japan.
Yeah.
So, thanks for the memories, Tanaka, but thank God you ain't playing in Boston. Because I couldn't. Now, even though the deal's almost in place, I wouldn't be surprised if a major league team does call and say, hey, listen, we'll offer you more than what this team's offering. You come play in America still. And I hate to say it, the Mets might be that team that does it. Just to kind of stick it to the Yankees a bit.
Well, didn't the Mets offer Bauer?
From what I heard, it's like 1 year, $30 million for Trevor Bauer. And as good as Trevor Bauer is, if you're going to waste $30 million, then do it sparingly to get other pieces.
Yeah.
Because you already have a decent starting pitching rotation with DeGrom, and you have Carlos Carrasco now that you got in the Lindor deal, and you have Syndergaard, and you don't know what Steven Matz is going to be, but they have a decent rotation there that you really don't need to add Bauer. The only reason why you'd be adding Bauer is obviously for more revenue, and from more ticket sales and this, that, and everything else. If you're going to offer him 1 year, $30 million, then just give him the deal he wants. Give him the 5 to 6 years at $30 to $45 million a year. Just sign him and just lock him up for the next 5, 6 years, knowing that for the next 5, 6 years you have these 3 faces of your rotation. And if it doesn't work out 4 years in, then
figure something out.
Trade them off, or maybe have an opt-out deal in there where after the 3rd year. And if I'm Trevor Bauer, that's what I would have to add in my deal. If you want 5 to 6 years, the middle part of it, there has to be a player opt-in, opt-out deal. There has to be, because it protects you, it protects the team.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I would do. And even if he was going to sign with the Yankees, because if people think the Yankees aren't in on Bauer or even listening to what's going on, Cashman's got his ear to everything, to everyone out there. And Yankee fans who say, well, if he did, then why didn't you sign Springer or Michael Brantley? Because we're not going to go out and spend $1 billion on every free agent.
Exactly.
Now, for not as good as George Springer is or isn't without the cheating scandal, I'm not giving him 6 years, $150 million when we already have a clogged outfield with Judge, Hicks, Frazier, and Andujar playing in the outfield now, and whoever else they're going to utilize. And even and when it's all said and done, because let's call it what it is. Gardner's coming back.
Yeah.
Gardner's coming back. There's no way the Yankees let him go play with somebody else. And I don't think Gardner wants to finish his career with another team.
It's either he gets signed or he's gonna.
That would almost be like, remember when Jeter's contract was up and everybody was unsure if the Yankees would re-sign him, and everyone had him pegged going to the San Francisco Giants. And what did Cashman do last minute? And re-signed Derek Jeter, right? So Derek Jeter finished his career, and we were talking about this at work today. And it utterly annoys me that there was at least 1 or 2 writers that just didn't give him the unanimous vote. And you could talk about the sabermetrics and how, if you really want to get technical, he was the worst shortstop of all time. If you want to use sabermetrics, then go ahead, but that's not what I base Derek Jeter's legacy on. I do it based on what he did on the field, 3,000 hits, which, by the way, I remember watching that game, and I called it was going to be a home run.
Yep, opposite field.
And no, it wasn't opposite field. It was the left center.
Left center. Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was, because it was where the grass is in left field before the bleachers. Like that second row of bleachers.
I thought it was more right center.
No, it wasn't. Trust me. I still remember like it was yesterday. I probably still have it saved on Facebook somewhere too. But that situation's going to be the same one with Gardner, where Cashman's going to come around, because they started talking again, and all signs point to he's coming back. I'm not giving him more than $5 million though. I'm not doing it. After we traded out Avino, we went and signed Darren O'Day, who's a sidearm reliever. He's not a bad reliever. I mean, we've killed him over the years. We've utterly destroyed him. But again, you can't knock that, especially you getting him on a cheap. I think it's like a 1 year, probably like a mid-level friggin' deal, probably like $1 million, $1.5 million tops. I mean, when you're really paying Darren O'Day, come on. But with the Bauer situation, because of the deal he wants, he's outpriced himself to a majority of Major League Baseball.
Exactly.
Because when Cincinnati called me, because Cincinnati was going to try to re-sign him, and when they found that out, they're like, no. And if you think the Marlins are going to spend that money, no. They've tried that. Didn't work. The Rays, what he's asking for is their whole payroll. So that's not going to happen. Does he still go to Toronto? Maybe. Possibly. Does he still go to Boston? Because now he's outpriced himself to all the small market teams. All right, so he's obviously not going to the Athletics. He's not going to go to the Mariners.
No.
He's not going to go to the Marlins. He's not going to go to the Rays. He's not going to go to...
I'd say probably go Yankees, Dodgers.
I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in the NL and goes to Washington.
Washington Nationals?
That's where, if you want a sleeper team that might sneak in and offer him exactly what he wants, that might be the team to do it.
Sucks being Mets then.
Because I don't see why you would take the risk on 1 year and $30 million.
That makes no sense to me.
Because if the Mets were going to do that, then you might as well just turn around and sign JT Realmuto to what he wanted.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, I think he re-signed in Philly for 5 years and $100 million. So, yeah, you didn't get that extra $125 million. So somebody in Philly must have watched and listened to me, because I wouldn't have even signed him for that. And the Yankees could afford it. And if the Yankees had did that, I would have. I would have been on Twitter bashing Cashman. I probably would have been banned from Twitter for life like friggin' Trump is. But, but again, Yankees have always made a big splash in free agency. I didn't expect them to sign Corey Kluber, they did it.
I didn't expect that either. That came out of nowhere, actually.
I didn't expect this Taillon trade. Cashman did it. Cashman's making the moves that are not only that they're not only gonna they're adding pieces to the pitching rotation, but he's doing it where they make financial sense. Mm-hmm. See, 1 year and $11 million with Kluber, it's risky because which Kluber do you get? Do you get the Cy Young version of Corey Kluber, or do you get the injury-ridden Corey Kluber?
2 times Cy Young.
All right. But it's a risk worth taking. It's only $11 million, and the Yankees can afford it.
Let's probably change that.
Let's call it what it is. And for Yankee fans, and I'll agree with this assessment. If the Yankees want to have that dynasty that they once had and make it bigger than the '90s Yankees were, Cashman and Hal have to think like George, but not make all the mistake moves the way George made them. Because when George Steinbrenner wanted something, it didn't matter what it cost. He got it.
You got it. Yeah, you did.
And that was a different era of baseball, though. Over the years, Cashman is obviously he's replenished the farm system to drafting and certain trades that he's made, and that's all well and good. But to become that dynasty again, you're going to have to give up some of those pieces in the farm system to get the end result, and that is a World Series. Because it's been a big drought since 2009. Do the math.
2009, I think we beat the Mets then, didn't we?
2009 we beat the Phillies.
Oh.
Matsui being the MVP of the World Series.
Matsui.
And that the Yankees have to approach it with the George Steinbrenner mentality. So Hal, find your inner George somehow. I don't know how you're going to do it, but do it. But don't do it the way George did it. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you got to think like him, but make the smarter move. You don't want to just give up everything, like literally like giving up like 100 minor leaguers to get Jose Canseco. Like, that literally was just to create a spectacle.
I don't know. I didn't understand that when it happened anyway, so.
And it's
Jose Canseco.
Yeah, which never made sense to me at all. He was just a friggin' more steroid version of friggin' Giambi. Yeah. He's still an asshole. Who really cares? And speaking of, obviously it brought up the Hall of Fame. So they're not going to have a Hall of Fame class this year in baseball.
Why?
I don't know. Because nobody wants to vote the steroid guys in. So Curt Schilling came out and he said, I want to be removed from the ballot. He never wants to be on the ballot again. He asked to be removed because maybe he feels he's not a Hall of Famer. Some people are saying that they don't look at him as a Hall of Famer.
I think he is. Curt Schilling?
I think he should have got in, but a lot of his personal political views where he's attacked transgenders and whatever else. And listen, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, whether you agree with it or not. When it comes to sports, your personal opinions need to be left out of certain accolades, and the Hall of Fame being one of it.
Exactly. They should have done it, yeah.
If you don't like transgenders, and that's your opinion, okay? Now, do you have to be so vocal about it?
No.
I would dial it down a bit and keep it maybe within your own house and not being on radio shows bashing them to death. And I'm not even going to get into that because that's not what this podcast is about.
Well, all I'm saying is that the Hall of Fame is what he did on the field. I believe that he...
And that's in any sport. And that's in any sport.
Bottom line.
If...
Like Roger Clemens, I believe he's a Hall of Famer.
And again, though, and to go back into that, Clemens, again, if you're not going to vote him in after the steroid era...
The Bowman of the Blue Jay.
No, you got to take their numbers before they were accused of cheating the game.
Mm-hmm.
You push him away. And he gets in based on what he did in Boston. Barry Bonds gets in based on what he did in Pittsburgh. That's how they get in. I would have put him in this year. And I said it to somebody today. The only way these guys get in, and eventually the way this keeps going, they may never get in, is if these older sports writers either retire or pass away. And the younger guys from my age range to 45 are the ones who say, you know what? If you take these numbers and you take Bonds' numbers, but now take away the San Francisco stats and take away Blue Jays and actually you could incorporate the Blue Jay one in there.
Yep.
So if you take away the Yankee stats and the Houston Astros stats, which probably sucked anyway, take those away and you look at and you break it all down,
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
It's as pure and simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Barry Bonds too, Hall of Fame.
And because we talked about today that if Mike Mussina could get in and he was a borderline Hall of Famer,
borderline,
then I'm sorry, this was the year to put Andy Pettitte in.
Yo, if Andy Pettitte does not make the Hall of Fame,
Andy Pettitte doesn't make the Hall of Fame.
Andy Pettitte's so not furious, dude.
Andy Pettitte, and I hate to say it, to me, he's right there. I mean, he doesn't have the 300 wins. He doesn't have the 3,000 strikeouts. But he's got other things that should get him in. And my opinion on it is that if you put Mike Mussina in,
you're putting Andy Pettitte in.
Then you have to put Andy Pettitte in. And you could say that I'm absolutely insane. But if you're going to put somebody who was more dominant in Baltimore than he was with the Yankees, and don't get me wrong, when we got Mussina, I like the move.
Me too.
But if you look at the two of them, they're practically the same. So if you put one in, how does the other not get in?
That's just...
And the reason why, if you want me to be honest, is because of his link to Roger Clemens, to HGH, and to the whole steroid era. He's just as much a part of it, even though he didn't do it to cheat the game the way Clemens did, and Bonds did, and McGwire, and Sosa before he went white, and Rafael Palmeiro, and all those guys, right? He didn't do it to cheat the game. He did it to heal. Okay? He used the substance we produce to heal faster, to come back to
our body actually produces that.
Okay? But it also enhances performance.
Now that's
and I understand it. But he didn't use it to enhance his performance. He used it to enhance his healing process. Which by that standard shouldn't hurt him, but according to these same writers who were writing about the home run chase, who loved every minute of it, are the same ones now bashing those said players.
The home run chase.
And the same thing goes when you had Bud Selig sitting there promoting all this, knowing that McGwire was taking Androstine, and knowing that Sosa was cheating the game, and then you turn around and you become the judge, jury, and executioner handing out the punishment to those same guys, and guys after them. When you turn a blind eye to it in 98, because they did, but then all of a sudden Canseco, because he goes bankrupt, has to write this book, which I will never read, because they should just call it the snitch book.
Yeah, okay? You rat everybody out of it.
Right? Ratting out everybody from McGwire to Alex Rodriguez. He probably friggin' snitched his dad out on tax evasion. Who knows? But Bud Selig, knowing that these guys cheated then, when the book came out and everyone within Major League Baseball decided that these were what the punishments were going to be, Bud Selig should have been the guy to say, I have to step down. I was a part of this. Okay? He didn't do that. So how does Bud Selig think that he could have his cake and eat it too? Because not only did he get to sit there and benefit from all that, but then he got to be the guy that says, "Oh, you cheated? Well, you're suspended, and you're suspended." And then not only that, the whole testing scenario of this. Okay, so when they started testing more frequently for this, what they were going to do, what the original plan was, if I remember correctly, because this is so long ago, that it was going to be unanimous. Each player had numbers, and there wasn't supposed to be names attached to the numbers. Now, if the percentage is at a certain percentage, every name was going to get released of who cheated the game. But it wound up being below that, so it didn't get leaked, but somebody decided to put names next to all the numbers. So they knew that test subject number, let's say 455, was David Ortiz, and then right after him was Manny Ramirez, and after him was A-Rod. And that's how all that came out, and that's how A-Rod got caught. And that's how David Ortiz got thrown into the mix, and that's how Manny Ramirez got thrown into the mix, and that's how all those other guys got thrown into the mix. Now, and then that's when the punishments got more. And you know what the funny thing is? It's not even the punishment isn't really even that swift.
It's not even a punishment.
Because Henry Mejia was a pitcher for the Mets. He got caught 3 times, and he was still reinstated into baseball. Even though he pitches in the minor leagues somewhere now, he still got reinstated into baseball. The third offense is supposed to be banned from baseball forever. But if Alex Rodriguez had got caught 3 times, you better believe he was getting banned.
Oh, yeah.
He would have been made the example. But because Henry Mejia was a no-name guy, they, okay, yeah, you can come back.
Ain't nobody know that.
So, and this goes across the board in every sport. If you're going to have these punishments for certain things, then you have to adhere to them. So you have to enforce them, regardless who the guy is.
Exactly.
And you know, if you agree with it, don't disagree with it. Listen, bottom line is this. Obviously, the first suspension is 80 games. The next one, in Robbie Cano's case, is the whole year now.
Yeah,
whether it's 162 or 60 games, it's a whole season.
It's a season, period.
Okay? The third time, if he gets caught a third time, and trust me, there will be a third time, is he banned for life?
Should be.
He should be, but will he?
Probably not.
Or will he have a compelling case as to why, oh, well, I went to GNC, I didn't know this was banned.
Come on.
And I get that there's a lot of things within baseball that, even though they're legal, they're banned by baseball standards. So they have to be careful what they're putting in their body. But half of the stuff ain't even detectable. It's not. Like for a while they claimed that creatine was cheating baseball. It's water based. How's it cheating the game?
Well, they're saying like creatine, like it's basically like your body produces creatine like if you drink a lot of water. You know what I'm saying?
It makes it makes the muscle more water based.
Yeah, but the creatine levels rise. So a prime example was football was Peppers. Remember he was during the combine he drank a lot of water and they tested him, but his creatine levels really high. You remember that part?
As far as I'm concerned, creatine's fine to take.
Yeah,
I take it.
Yeah, creatine and creatine is different.
You know, but you know, even even when they had like day-night doubleheaders or straight doubleheader, like from one game into the other, and these guys have to take amphetamines, that's banned. They can't. But let's put it this way: in baseball, if you have ADD and you gotta take Adderall, you literally have to show Major League Baseball you have a prescription for it, because they say that ADD is a performance-enhancing drug, when it's not. It's to combat the ADD.
Exactly.
So I don't know who in Major League Baseball came up with these banned substances, whatever. But what's next on the banned substance list? You can't drink liquid pre-workout anymore?
You can't drink water.
Can't drink anything, apparently. But, you know, but when it comes back down to the Hall of Fame, and it comes down to, like, the steroid era guys, I'm sorry. To me, Clemens, Bonds, not Rafael Palmeiro. Even look at Pudge Rodriguez. He cheated the game and got in the Hall of Fame.
I didn't even hear about him cheating.
Come on. He cheated the
Ivan
game.
Rodriguez.
He got away with it, though. Let's call it. To me, he cheated the game. They all did.
He was a hell of a catcher, though.
Every player in some way, shape, or form, from football to baseball to hockey to basketball, in some way, shape, or form, has cheated their sport.
He just hasn't been caught yet.
And they haven't got caught because they've learned how to make... Look at Melky Cabrera as another prime example. Melky Cabrera got caught twice. Okay? Melky Cabrera even used a substance you could rub on you, a gel that's supposed to deteriorate in 24 hours. And when he did it, it was like 18 hours in or something like that. And they tested him and he got caught.
Oh.
So when they find new ways to catch people cheating the game, they're always going to be a step behind because somebody's going to find a new way to do it.
Exactly.
They always have and they always will. I mean, like, Angelstein back then is like what creatine is. Now, I don't know. Now, Canseco says McGwire took actual steroids. I don't know if he really did.
I can actually believe it.
But whether he did or didn't, you still used Angelstein, and by Major League Baseball standards, you cheated the game. But again, Bud Selig, being the commissioner at the time, you can't sit there and turn a blind eye then, and then when this book comes out, you're now punishing everybody for the same things you allowed years prior.
Exactly.
You cannot do it.
I see where you're coming from.
You cannot do it. But if that happened now, with this Major League Baseball commissioner, he's got no balls. He's got no balls. And in speaking of that, they had a meeting about the universal DH, and the MLB Players Association said that they don't want a universal DH. I even think they said they want expanded playoffs taken out. I actually like the expanded playoff thing. What you should really take out again is the fucking starting the 10th inning with a runner on second. Take that away.
That is not. That is not. That's not cool. But starting a guy in scoring position basically gives you.
You want to know what it's like? It's like starting football in overtime, and you give Tom Brady the ball at the goal line.
Exactly.
You might as well just not even play it. Because you know what's going to happen in about 15 seconds.
Exactly.
He's just going to run it in his damn self. All right? You can't... Going into this season, I like the expanded playoff format. It makes it a little more interesting. The universal DH eventually is going to happen.
Yeah, on both leagues, right?
It's eventually going to happen. And it's more to protect the pitcher. Because we've seen what's happened when pitchers have to run.
Yeah.
Okay, Tanaka, Ching-Ming Wang.
Yeah.
Rings a bell? Okay. All right. I get in the NL, they're more coached to hit and run. The pitchers are, because they have to bat in the NL. But to me,
you shouldn't have to.
At this point, if every other sport's evolving, baseball's behind, and baseball needs to evolve. Because, listen, I'm fine with if you're going to do double headers and they're 7 innings long. I'm fine with that.
I'm cool with that too.
I'm cool with it. But to start a guy at second base, maybe in the 11th, 12th inning.
I'm going to say like 13, you know what I'm saying? So, like, the game will go on forever.
You know, I would say, like Joe Torre said, the 13th, 14th inning. I agree with it, but I would start maybe in the 11th and 12th inning.
But the 10th, no, man. That's
no,
not even right.
Inning is just, it's just
a base hit, it's over.
Man, pretty much.
Basically.
You know, unless they're going to change it to like in football where, oh, well, if you don't hit a home run in this inning, then the next team, and you score on a seeing eye single, then the next team's got the home team gets to bat and possibly try to win on the same exact thing you just scored on.
Well, basically, the only reason why I think they're starting to go on second is so the game doesn't last forever. Because you've seen games going to 19, 20 damn innings. You know what I mean?
I've stayed up for a lot of them.
Me too.
I've stayed up for a lot of those Yankee Red Sox going into like 2 a.m. in the morning. I'd rather be there than actually watch it on TV, though, to be honest with you. Even though they stopped serving beer after the 7th inning, but still, I'll find a way.
I'll find a way.
I'll find a way. Listen, hey, you. Here's a sawbuck. Go get me $100 worth of beer. All right? That's what I would do. But, you know, again, as we discussed, just random stuff with baseball in general.
There's so much shit going on.
With baseball free agency, I'm surprised it's as slow as it's been. Because usually I think, even though Springer signed, the Yankees re-signed LeMahieu, and Brantley signed in Houston, which, by the way, 2 years and $34 million for a guy like Michael Brantley. I think that was just Houston saying, yeah, we got money, we'll just throw it away.
Stupid.
I wouldn't have spent $34 million. I would have given him 2 years, $16 million. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's good at the plate, but what else does he really offer? As far as my opinion, I'm not watching Astros games every night, but when I've seen him play against the Yankees, he hits.
And I can't stand the Astros. I can't stand Jose Altuve. I don't know why.
Oh God,
there's something about him, bro. Don't like him.
Yeah, he's a douchebag. He's a short little midget
I'll never
douchebag.
forget that home run. Chapman, that son of a bitch. Anyway.
Well, that's because it was like 3 bashes of the can, and it was a fastball, and Chapman threw a fastball and smiled about it. Whatever. I don't even care at this point. But
I want to get a little bit about this Matthew Stafford parting ways mutually, though.
5 years later.
Yeah, he didn't be pretty banana, cry about it, and all that stuff. He was just, him and his wife.
I think, honestly, in that situation, you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised it took this long.
Yeah.
Because I would have thought 2-3 years ago he would have been asking to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
And where he suits best to be in a winning situation. I'm not saying he goes and wins a Super Bowl ever, but in a win now to finish his career on a winning side of it.
To make the playoffs.
Colts. It's the Colts.
Oh yeah.
Because the Colts are the perfect system for him, and a lot of people are saying it. A lot of people are saying that, especially now with Rivers gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Are you winning a Super Bowl with Jacoby Brissett? As much as I like Jacoby Brissett,
no.
He's not going to be the guy that takes you to the Super Bowl ever.
No.
Ever. Maybe if he'd stayed in New England, maybe, but not with the Colts and not with any other team.
No.
So, and with teams needing a quarterback, obviously the Falcons trying to unload Matt Ryan
and Julio Jones are too.
You know, and the Jets. Who knows with them what they're doing? You know, they're just as dysfunctional as the keeping up with the Kardashians bullshit.
I think they should stick with Sam Darnold. Give him some weapons.
Well, that was a debate that I had with. That's a debate I had on Facebook with some friends I went to school with, and this one kid was like, "Oh, you know, I would trade for Watson." My other friend Rob was like, "Yeah, I would do the same thing." And me and this guy Mark were like, "Build around Darnold." And I even and
you've seen the last 3 games.
And I brought up the fact of, you know, I said, if you had an offensive line when you guys had Bell and had weapons, the Jets seasons end differently.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the playoffs. Yeah. You're at least in the playoffs. And, you know, they didn't do that. And then and my friend Mike was like, well, you know, Bell ain't on the team anymore. I'm like, yeah, I know that. But case in point, your head coach at the time, who was an absolute moron, is coming out saying that he wasn't misused. He was. The whole team was misused. The whole team was... that whole team literally got screwed with the signing of Adam Gase.
And ship away Robbie Anderson.
And that's the other thing. Literally 4 years, $40 million. You couldn't pay Robbie Anderson that to stay? And now he's in Carolina. And I'm not saying Robbie Anderson's going to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver, but what he did with the Jets is exactly what he's doing with Carolina.
Yep.
And that's 8 to 10 and 100 a game.
Jets don't have that right now.
That's what the Jets have is
James and Crowder
is literally
nothing.
An island of misfit toys.
Yeah.
That nobody wants, and the Jets took.
They definitely need another receiver. They need an offensive line.
They need two decent wide receivers. They need a third to complement it, which would be Mims.
Yeah.
They need a good blocking, catching tight end, which is something Pittsburgh needs to do in this draft, because they have not replaced Heath Miller. No, I don't think anybody ever is going to replace Heath Miller. Heath Miller was the best blocking, catching tight end we've had. Jesse James couldn't do it, even though he still caught the freaking thing.
He did.
Okay. Vance McDonald was decent, but not the replacement. Eric Ebron, I like him, but he's not replacing Heath Miller either.
Yeah, catch that damn ball.
You know, that's what they need to find. Whether it's in the draft or it's in free agency, the Steelers need to find a decent tight end. The Jets have to find a decent tight end. Ryan Griffin isn't it. He's not it. You need to get another, and this is why I said with the second pick, you have Mekhi Becton on one side of your offensive line. You get Penei Sewell from Oregon.
Exactly.
And watch how much, and you'll pretty much emulate what Pittsburgh has with, even though Chuck Okafor is half the size of Becton, he plays like he is the size of Mekhi Becton. And then you have the guy who is the size of Becton, who could probably beat the shit out of Mekhi Becton, in Kevin Dotson. Okay? That there is what the Jets need. But do they do it with the second pick, or do they go all in on actually trading for Watson and getting rid of Darnold?
Or drafting quarterback.
See, if they draft a quarterback there, then they're better off just trading for Watson. Or going and getting Matt Stafford.
That's a lot of money, though.
Well, the Jets have a lot of cap money to spend. So, if I'm the Jets, this is what I do. Okay, right? I'm not putting myself in the Jets fan's shoe here. I'm putting myself. If I'm the GM of the Jets here, I got the second pick in the draft, and I have all these scenarios playing out. Okay, this is what I do. I came out and said Darnold is the future of this team. If I'm loyal, I can't go back on that. So I have to prove he is. So with the second pick, I get him another offensive lineman. We have the other pick from the trade with the Seahawks. I go and get the next best wide receiver with that pick. Go into the second round. I find another tight end or a good running back. I then go into the third and I get another offensive lineman. I then go into the fourth and work on defense. And then fifth, sixth, and seventh, I kind of piece it together based on what's the next best thing available.
Because you think
That's
about
what I do. And then you still have a decent amount of cap money left. You see what free agents are out there. Mm-hmm. See if you can trade for Julio Jones. And it may cost you a second and a third next year's draft.
Julio Jones
but
is
you
a big
do it.
Target.
Okay? Golden Tate's out there. As much as Golden Tate sucked for the Giants, I would go and get Golden Tate if I'm the Jets.
Yeah, he's pretty good with yards at the
And not for nothing, if you build up that offensive line, and I'm going to say this, now that Gase is gone, you have to rethink maybe going and getting Bell back. Because if you have a decent offensive line and you can get Le'Veon Bell back with Darnold and all these weapons, Le'Veon Bell will flourish again.
I believe it too.
But he's not going to flourish on a team that already has a running back who produces.
Exactly.
You really think you think in the Super Bowl they're gonna tell Hilaire to sit so we can start Bell?
No.
They're not gonna do that.
Hilaire's gonna start and Bell's gonna just
Bell ain't gonna have no touches. He's like the fourth running back on the depth chart for the Chiefs. They might as well just leave him inactive and let him be the running backs coach. If he can even do that. Okay? Because he can't rap, he can't rush no more, apparently.
Well, he probably could if he had an offensive line.
I don't know what Bell can do.
But anyway though, just say the Jets did trade for Watson with no offensive line, but
then you have the same result for the next 3.
Exactly my point.
The same result you have with
Darnold.
My point. And then Jets fans are going to say the same thing 3 years later that they've been saying for these 3 years. And I'm going to be the guy 3 years later who tells you this is what you should have done, and you didn't listen.
Yo, because the last 3 games of the season, Sam Darnold showed some.
But the thing is, it has to be consistent. But it can't be consistent
with no
offensive line and a moron head coach to go with it.
Exactly.
Because even Jets fans said that Adam Gase is an absolute moron.
Who has a
and I'm not a Jets. Listen, bottom line is this: for a Steeler fan to tell a Jets fan what they need is absolutely
asinine.
Pathetic. It is so pathetic. Okay, because how is it I know what your team needs more than what you do? How is it I could see that Darnold is a future quarterback in this league, and you don't? Why? Because for 3 years, you've put shit around him? Literally, you've put shit around him.
Exactly.
Okay? You put nothing but dog shit, horse shit, donkey shit, goat shit, my shit, your shit, nothing but shit.
And you benched this for what, Joe Flacco?
Okay? And then, no, because he was hurt. He had the shoulder injury.
Right.
And then you bring him back before he's fully healed. Okay? Oh, Joe Flacco. Oh, let me tell you something there. Another thing. Shit in Baltimore.
Flacco.
Shit. Joe Flacco, not a Hall of Famer, not elite. I don't care what anybody says. Flacco equals shit. I don't care. And that's because he played in Baltimore, and I can't stand the Ravens. Anybody who plays for the Ravens, I was drafted by the Ravens. See, Mark Ingram's a different story. I'll take Mark Ingram on my team because Mark Ingram was drafted by the Saints. Okay?
Yeah.
And if we don't get Najee Harris, listen, Steeler fans, Mark Ingram, get it, sign, seal, deliver. I'll start a GoFundMe page for this free agency. Okay? I will.
You guys got Mark Ingram, man.
That's the power running back we need. But I would also keep Connor.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
But then you got the decision on Snell and McFarland. But
who's the odd man out there? McFarland.
No, it'd probably be Snell because McFarland was coached by Matt Canada at Maryland. And Matt Canada, by the way, Steelers, thank God you finally announced that Canada is the friggin' offensive coordinator. But another video down, another podcast down. I'm thinking maybe Saturday night.
Saturday night sounds good, man.
Saturday night, yeah, we'll fling another one out there, why not?
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
We're going to work on having a set schedule for everything.
Yeah.
As the weather gets warmer, we're going to go to different places. So if you want to meet up, do a podcast, socially distance, of course.
6 feet.
I'm all for it. So until the next podcast, which you can find on, ow, got my shoulder. You can find all major platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, this podcast, your mother's podcast, videos on YouTube, pretty much anywhere with a podcast you're going to find it. Don't be afraid to hit me up on Twitter. I'll answer all questions. You want to debate me? Debate all you want. I'm open for it. To the next podcast, stay safe, mask up, and as always, peace. Boom.